mean, I think that it's going to be if we're able to really get truth out the way that I hope the internet can do in the future, I think we're going to find out a lot of cultural icons were assets of the CIA.
Oh yeah, totally.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
not all of them.
Oh, I think a ton though.
I mean, let's try to think of some people that wouldn't that the CIA couldn't handle.
Uh Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. You know, he actually lived right down the street from. I shouldn't say exactly where I live, but yeah, for a while he lived in Orange County.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Who else? Who do you think?
I don't think he could handle the CIA could handle Old Dirty Bastard. That's why he's not around anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
he's
think
that shit.
yeah, I think some people just you can't reliably control them, and that's why they gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they gotta kind of go off of certain things a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at actually, I wanted to do a little piece about all the, well, not all of them, but I was just going through some of the, celebs, actors, musicians that talk about how they sold their soul.
Mm-hmm.
And the one with Bob Dylan, I love the most. It's so freaky,
I mean, his music did go through, even besides that whole going electric shit, even before that, his music went through like a real revolution. Like if you listen to some of like the really old Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
it didn't have his style or really much of a personal style, an individual style at all. And then it really like he kind of changed.
Yeah.
And that's shit got like next level.
Yeah.
And that's maybe that's whatever he did. People are like, and he went on some long trip or something. I remember I watched a documentary about him. And then he went on this long trip and he came back and he had some skills.
Yeah, that's the same shit that had the story of Robert Johnson, who was, they say, the person after, behind Faust himself. Johnson's like the most well-known. But the story with him, it's interesting, similar, is that he was trying to play the guitar, he picked it up, and he sucked. And everyone was like, what are you doing wasting your time? And then he goes away for like a few weeks, comes back, and he's fucking sick as hell. He's dope. And so anyway, and then
do you think that's
apparently
to do on your own?
What's that?
Do you think that's possible to do on your own without any like supernatural ability? Do you think you could go off, but just dedicate like just weeks of doing nothing else?
I mean, you would definitely get better, but to come back as like, a fucking savant would be like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. But anyway, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
But yeah, I was just so you've seen the interview with Dylan where he talks about how the bargain that he made?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
And then I was also, did you know about Jimmy Page and his connection to Crowley?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched. They had a bit on that on Tinfoil Hat.
Yeah. He worshipped Aleister Crowley, and how he even bought his mansion on the Loch Ness Lake, the Loch Ness Monster.
That's dope.
Yeah. I got a quote from him where he says, my interest in the occult started when I was 15. I do not worship the devil, but magic does intrigue me, magic of all kinds. I read magic in theory and practice when I was about 11 years old, but it wasn't for some years that I understood what it was all about. And he said, oh, and then Ozzy. He was another one. And Jay-Z. Look at all these people. Jay-Z. So wait, Ozzy said, he goes, I really wish I had known why I've done some of the things I've done over the years. Sometimes I think that I'm possessed by some outside spirit. A few years ago, I was convinced of that, and I thought I truly was possessed by the devil. I remember sitting through The Exorcist a dozen times saying to myself, yeah, I can relate to that. Wow.
I mean, the shit goes down, man. You know, there's like,
What's that?
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna. I mean, you know about Jay-Z, and I mean, you look at his clothing line; it's all like Crowley-esque. You know, it's "Do as Thou Wilt," and then you look back on that song "Lucifer" that he did that I used to like. It's good, you know.
Oh, you don't like it anymore?
Well, I just see it differently, you know, like when you hear it with new ears, as I do now. Just kind of, I mean, I like the song, but
yeah.
It's crazy, you know, now knowing what I know.
What if? Let me ask you this: like, what if we got if we found out that Jeffrey Epstein had just put out, he had a hip hop album that was supposed to be the best hip hop album ever created. All right, and let's say it's better than like the 36 Chambers of Death. It's better than fucking Illmatic. It's like the best rap album ever. And so people were telling you gotta listen to this shit. Jeffrey Epstein's shit is nuts. Would you listen to it?
Oh, I would have to listen to it.
You would? I don't know if I would, man. I'd be scared.
Yeah, probably there's probably demons that are gonna enter you, but through listening to it.
Yeah, man. I've been watching some scary YouTube videos about people. They get these things called Divic boxes off eBay. Have you seen this shit?
Wait, hold on 1 second. Sorry. 1 second.
All right. Recording. Yeah. There's going to be a crazy story at the end of this episode, and hopefully we'll get it out in the next few cuts. All right, now we're back. All right.
Someone brought my keys.
Oh shit! Where were you? Oh shit!
They were left outside, I assume, by someone. Anyway, what were we talking about? The Faustian bargain.
Yes.
Apparently, MC Hammer believes that Jay-Z made a Faustian bargain. And then you look at Jay-Z being a Freemason. Apparently, he's a high-level Freemason.
Do you have to pay to get into that?
Yeah, it might just be with your soul.
I mean, no. I mean, like, is there like a membership figure, like dues every week or something?
Probably.
Because there's one right by where I'm living. And I was just watching some people the other day going in and out. And I just was thinking, I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm always studying people, you know, about what kind of people are going to wear, what do they look like, you know, what are they wearing? Mostly what are they wearing and how are they walking?
Yeah.
I like, and who are they with? Like, what kind of group is it? Like, is it a family? And I'd watch people go into this place and there's just like no pattern. And people come in and out irregularly. Like doesn't seem to be a group thing. It's whatever it's doing. I don't get it.
Huh. Yeah.
I don't get what they're doing.
Well, I told you I got the buddy who's trying to like recruit me.
I mean, yeah, you got to be careful, man.
It's crazy because you know, part of me is curious, and you know, because you can make connections, they say, you know, but nah, I know where the rabbit hole goes with that, and I try to tell my buddy, but he just he's down for some reason. I don't know. But on another note, I wanted to. You know that today is the 2-year anniversary of the Vegas shooting?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize that.
So I've been kind of doing a dive into that recently, and it's it's mind blowing. You know, I mean, so they tell you, within 2 hours they find the guy. We're like, yeah, this is the guy, right? And then you look into it and you find that like the guy's window was not shot out. It wasn't broken. There were shot out windows like on different levels. And then people on the ground were saying how there were multiple shooters coming from like different angles. And then they were saying how the muzzle shots, like you weren't seeing muzzle shots coming out of the guy Stephen Paddock's room. You were seeing, apparently there were helicopters that were shooting. You see like up in the air, and apparently, you know, the air traffic control people said that there were helicopters in the area at that point, and at that exact moment they turned off their transponders. Fuck. Yeah. And so people one of the theories is that the guy. Okay, so there's this. I had heard that the Saudis were involved, like that they had owned some part of the Mandalay Bay, and you come to find that the Four Seasons, which was on like a certain chunk of floors towards the top, was owned by this one Saudi prince, and he had this Saudi prince like cousin who met with Trump, and this one cousin didn't like that, and so that started like a whole like civil war between them, and so supposedly this initial thing in Vegas was supposed to be like an assassination attempt on the one Saudi prince from the other cousin, but apparently it went bad, but then the shooting on the concert goers, that was supposedly just to like, get back at Trump somehow, like, like here, we're gonna kill all your fucking people, the country goers, and so the whole Saudi connection thing, and so the guy Stephen Paddock was apparently a gun runner and a pilot for this Saudi prince. And when the shit went bad, they were like, all right, we're just going to take him out and he'll be the patsy. Because in like no time, the case was closed and that was it. No one said shit about it. Think about it. Over these 2 years, no one says shit about the Vegas shooting.
No, it's not. It's not much discussed, even in the conspiracy circles.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the fact that the lid got put on it like that really makes me wonder.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like with that whole official story, there was a lot. It seems like they weren't even trying to come up with a good one that time.
Yeah, yeah.
They were just like, oh, whatever. He was bang bang and shooting at the people.
Yeah.
What else you want to know? Now he's dead.
Yeah.
Aren't you happy?
Turn in your guns.
I don't know. I mean, I'm one thing I don't know anything about. I mean, I understand the physics of guns. But I don't know about the different kinds of guns and shit other than what I've seen in movies.
Right.
But, dude, isn't that kind of like a lot of people to kill and a lot of bullets for one guy to be shooting? Isn't it? I mean, am I crazy? I mean, I don't know. If somebody on the internet tell me I'm wrong, maybe there is a gun. That's because it seems like he had a gun like Arnold did in Predator when he like basically mows down the entire rainforest with this like minigun. Remember that shit?
That's a damn minigun.
I mean, is that what was going on? Like, is that even possible?
I don't think that one guy could do all that damage. I don't believe that at all. And
I just can't believe it. It looked like it was Vietnam.
Yeah.
It was lighting up the whole fucking sky.
Yeah, there was apparently something like 30 people killed, but then like 500 plus people injured.
I mean, it just doesn't. It seems out of balance for the kind of damage people are doing with these. I mean, people have the same machine guns when they're going and shooting up these bars where they just, they kill a lot of people. It's horrible. But those kind of numbers, man.
Yeah.
It seems a little wacky to me, but.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's not talked about at all really is just so telling,
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of firearms. There are scarier weapons out there that are more interesting. But I don't begrudge people to have them. And I think that, I don't, for as many firearms as there are in America, there's relatively few shootings. For as many nutcases.
Yeah, and I mean, the amount of people that are safe, the amount of crimes that are prevented as a result of people having firearms. I mean, why, if an intruder, why should someone not have the right to defend themselves when an intruder comes in, And now with this gang warfare that's fucking coming up hard, I mean, I think people should be allowed to have 50 calibers, AK-47s. They should.
What about nukes?
Huh?
What about nukes?
Nah, I don't think people should have nukes.
I think people should be able to have stealth bombers, though. Maybe not nukes. But people should be able to have their own Harrier jets and F-35s.
Totally. I mean, why should the elite only get that?
I know, man, and that would lower the prices. They could get to be cost like the price of a Honda. If we get the market forces at work, we should have. That's what I'm saying. I always wanted to have my own fighter plane.
Oh yeah. That'd be so
So
dope.
people would argue, oh, that's loud and destructive. You're hurting the environment with your fighter plane. Like, well, all right, you're scaring the birds with your fighter plane.
But-
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
but the yacht and the jets and the yachts that these rich elite go around on, that's all good. I'm not saying
that's fine.
like carbon footprint. But dude, I also wanted to bring up this whole fucking vape pen ban.
Oh, yeah.
So ridiculous. Yeah. At first, someone brought it to my attention. Because at first, I started buying into it. I was like, "Wait, this is bad." Like, but then when they actually were putting the ban through, I was like, "Wait a minute, they don't care about our health. Why are they doing it?" You know?
Of course they don't. This is all just a corporate takeover of Juul.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's like, well, if you care about people's health, why don't you ban cigarettes? Why don't you ban alcohol? Why don't you ban driving? That kills more people.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's pretty obvious to me because you just read the financial parts of it. Like if you forget, like, oh, 4 people died. Oh God. I mean, it's sad that 4 people died. But let's see where the money is going and flowing. So Juul was there were some tobacco people that had a stake in the company, but the major force of that company was outside of big tobacco land. Now that's not true. Now big tobacco has the vape market.
So then why would they want to try to squash it a little bit?
Well, then they'll bring it back in their own way. They just don't want somebody to get a foothold in the market.
Oh, I see.
And Juul was getting too big too fast and getting too powerful. And the way these guys think is they're really afraid of losing market share. And I mean, they have cigarettes are being like around the world are actually doing pretty well. But vaping threatens not just in the US, but it threatens their market all around the world. And they're just not, the major players of big tobacco just don't have the real financial claws onto the people that are the big players in the vape world. So it's kind of like they have this new money in the neighborhood they want to get rid of. That's what it seems like to me. Now they have the new CEO of Juul is some old smoking bastard.
But yeah, I just thought it was so strange. I mean, it was when you think about the amount of people that have been vaping for it's been around for like 5+ years now. And just now, 5-6 years later, there like a couple hundred people get sick. I mean, the question I would ask is, so maybe this was a batch that they got that was bad or something, you know? I mean, we're talking about like a fraction of a percentage of the population, right?
I mean, it was probably people killed by other things.
Yeah.
Like none of the deaths are really consistent. None of the products they were using were consistent. This is just somebody wanting to run with their fucking cause somewhere. And they got certain people to sign on. This is a bunch of nonsense. And yeah, it could be a bad batch. There could be some, there is such a thing as, have you ever heard of oil pulling?
Yeah, with coconut oil?
Oh yeah, well, you can get a kind of pneumonia from doing that if you do it too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a like an oil. What I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's a I don't know, some kind of lipid pneumonia, lipoid pneumonia, and it's when you get so much oil in your lungs they just can't really function anymore, and they kind of just drown because they can't really clear a long chain oil molecule. But vape uses propylene glycol and glycerol. Those are all really small things that get absorbed in the body. Like we can take those apart pretty quickly and easily. But if you had a big molecule like vitamin acetate, vitamin E, vitamin A acetate, if you had like a really thick oil, like if you were to do that with like motor oil or something, you get like lipoid pneumonia. And that's something that people used to get who did homeopathic remedies, where they would take mineral oil and they would like try to pull the toxins out of their body. Yeah, so it could be that, but it's just absurd to me that somebody would take these like specific cases, blow it up into this whole big thing. So I'm hearing about this news of vapes more than anything else. How many wars are we at? 12? I mean, vaping, like if you look at how the market's growing and how many more people are using it all the time, it's like the safest. I'm not saying it doesn't. It is addictive, believe me, but it's not killing anyone. It's zero. Like that number of 5 is when you're talking about millions and millions on the other side. That's effectively zero.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm just annoyed that I hear about it so much.
I know.
Like all the time. I mean, and I'm getting letters from emails from mom about it, like, oh, and I'm like, Mom, believe me, it's gonna take more than a little vape pen to take me out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I sent you an article, but then that was before I realized that, you know, it's all horseshit.
Well, you care about me. No, I mean, and it's a new thing, you know what I mean? And I could be wrong, but to me, that doesn't seem, it just seems pretty safe. Probably pretty addictive. Although I have stopped. Like I have just put this thing down for like a few months, several times, just because I like ran out of batteries or the batteries stopped working.
Yeah.
And I've just stopped it for weeks. And I haven't had any withdrawal effects.
Huh.
And the only thing is they're just, oh, it'd be like kind of nice to have that again.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh man, I need this shit.
Right.
It was like, it's kind of nice to have. And I mean, I think it's addictive, but I don't think that it's like some of the psychotropic drugs that are out there. Like if you look at poor Jordan Peterson, what's happened to him?
Yeah. What was the drug that he was trying to get off of?
Klonopin.
Klonopin.
Yeah, it's a benzodiazepine.
Is that hardcore?
Yeah. I mean, getting off those things can be really dangerous, and it's like, it's not withdrawal like heroin withdrawal. Like, it's a next level type thing that could kill you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just such a shame that dude is at the peak of his game, and some stuff's happened. I mean, whatever you think of everything about his politics, I don't like certain things that he says, although I really like his lectures.
Yeah.
That guy's a compelling speaker, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's really dignified too. He's, you know, I mean, but there's certain things that I think, like you need your kids to be people you like, and you need to sometimes, he's a little bit too pro the hierarchy. You know, I'm kind of,
I felt like
I'm an
when he
anarchist.
said that, he was kind of just saying that, you know, you should be a good parent. So that, because if you're a good parent, then you're going to have a good kid, and then it'll be a kid that you like, not being a bad parent producing a bad kid that's fucked, you know?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like more of just a personal thing. I think he's a good guy by all measure. I mean, look how much his kid loves him, and you know, he's tight. He has a good, strong family. You know, he's managed a career without whoring all over the place, and he didn't turn to cocaine. He turned to a doctor who screwed him over. A doctor. It'd be better if he had gotten hooked on cocaine.
Yeah.
It would have been better for his health.
Yeah.
Instead of going to these doctors, man.